Hey,
Hello,
What's
so
up,
nice to meet you.
what's going on?
A lot of
Veronica?
goodness.
Veronica.
Hey, hey, look, we coming with it, bringing them positive vibes.
That's
Yeah.
fabulous. Well, let me get out the way and leave the expert to the expert. All right, I'll see y'all later.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for having us, and thanks for doing this.
Yeah.
Amazing work. All right, everybody. How you doing? My name is Tiffany Fontenot, and I am one half of We Are Here Lit, a literacy space for Black boys and young Black men. And I am here today with the amazing Mr. Billy Allen, the Read Aloud King. And today we are going to talk about how to do Read Aloud. How you doing today?
I'm blessed. You know, God is good. You know, it's Black Children's Book Week. You know, we trying to send them positive vibes to influence our future kings and queens. So, you know, let's get it. And thank you, Tiffany.
Oh, not a problem, because not only do we have one of the best Read Aloud people here today who's an amazing librarian, it's also National Read Aloud Month. So we want to talk about the importance of reading aloud too. But before we do that, I want to talk to you, Mr. Billy, about what you do. You are a branch manager at Whitney Library for Las Vegas County Libraries in Las Vegas. But first, I want to go back. Why did you become a children's librarian? What was that about?
You know, it's funny how life works out. Like, you know, I've always been an entertainer. Shout out to my good friend, Bradley Kirkendall, my mentor, Jerome Alford, Kelvin Watson, and Makiba Foster. They influenced me to become a librarian. And my first, I got my master's in library science from North Carolina Central. Shout out to my HBCUs. I was an academic librarian coming out of school. So my first interview was to be a children's librarian. So for my interview, I had to do a story time for my interview. So I'm like, what is a story time? You know, this is 6 years ago. I've only been a librarian for 6 years. So when I did this, I couldn't do the old McDonald. I couldn't do that. That wasn't me. I said, you know what? I'm going to do it my way. And I was like, you know what? I like doing this. I love reading out loud because I can be myself and be free. And I just ran with it. You know, it's been a beautiful thing.
Awesome. So what is your impression when most people find out that you're a librarian?
You know, first and foremost, it's the best thing that ever happened to me because I get to impact the community. I tell people I am a matchmaker for resources. So when I tell people I'm a librarian, first and foremost, they be like, I ain't never met a Black male librarian before. You know, we barely make up 1% of the field. So, you know, I use that to my advantage because we can inspire our future generation that you could do something dope that me and Tiffany are doing. So, you know, I'm just passionate about what I do. I go to work in an hour, you know, just to impact the community. I love engaging with my community, and it's so important.
Yes, representation is everything, everything. Can you tell us about some of the ways that you help your community within your library? What are some of the things you do?
First and foremost, it's community outreach. Libraries are not just about books anymore. You know what I'm saying? Yes, we have books, but the foundation is to get people information. I think people don't understand and realize the impact of libraries in communities. If you want to get Rosetta Stone for free with your library card, if you're a parent that has kids on this live, you have story times, you have pre-K readiness kits, you have all types of craft programs, performers. It's all this going on in the library, and guess how much it costs? It's free 99. It is free to get your library card. So this is all the great programs and resources. Like, you know, the summer's coming up, right? The summer learning programs, summer reading programs that we have in libraries across America. Parents, if you have little ones, take advantage of coming to the library. You'll be surprised. You know, get you a launch pad. You know, if you want to get your library card, you can check out 50 books. Get you some DVDs. You know, I'm just giving you the whole library commercial right now. So
that's what we need, though. That's what we need.
Yeah, you know, so I'm just an advocate. You know this, Tiffany. I'm an advocate about our profession. If you don't have a library card on this live, after this live get you a library card and thank me later.
Yeah. If you need to find your local library, you can inbox me. I'll be glad to tell you where your local library is too. All right, so we're here today to talk about Read Aloud. It's National Read Aloud Month. Let's talk about Why is it important to read aloud? Why is that important to read aloud to a kid?
So I would say first and foremost, parents, caregivers, siblings, family members, it's important to practice what you preach, especially in our community. You want kids to develop the love of reading. They need to see you reading, and how about you read with them? Don't treat this as a chore. Find books that you want to read to your children, and the energy will be infectious, and you'll be surprised of the outcome that you will get. When I see these little kids running into the library and they running straight to the book stack, that's a straight reflection of parents being engaged with their children. So you just get involved as much as possible. I know everyone's busy, everyone works, but reading 15 minutes a day at night, It goes a long way.
And if you see a kid that needs to get read to, do it. Get the kids off the block and break out a book from the library and just read. We got tons of books. We need readers.
Yeah.
So find some kids to read to, especially this month. Take that time, volunteer, redo a class at school. Let them see you read. Modeling it is the most important. And on the nerd tip, I have some facts about read aloud. Right? Read alouds increase enjoyment. They increase attention span. They strengthen comprehension. They build vocabulary. It creates social emotional awareness and empathy, and it promotes bonding. So those are some of the actual technical things that read-alouds do. So let's get into this a little bit more. How do you go about choosing a book for your read-alouds? What are some of the things you think about when you decide to do a read-aloud?
First and foremost, when I'm choosing a book, like I just previously mentioned, I'm choosing books I want to read, and also knowing your age range. When I'm doing a read aloud, I make sure that a lot of stories I read is straight to the point. I don't want to read a 30-page book, no offense, because like you said, kids have short attention spans, and so do adults. So you got to create that engagement off rip. I love vibrant, colorful pages. My best advice to everybody when it comes to read alouds: be comfortable. It's no wrong way to do a read aloud. I think sometimes people get intimidated when they see read alouds and they think they have to mimic that. No, everybody does story time and read alouds in their own unique way. Once again, when we're talking about book selection, when you're choosing books, I like to choose books that are simple, straight to the point. They maybe have some rhymes. They have a message. If I want to teach emotion, I would choose a book on that. If we want to talk about having a little new sibling, I could choose a book on that. We talk about, you want to teach death. There are a lot of great children's books that could talk about, your grandmother passing away, how to appreciate them. Just be conscious of what you want to read and be passionate about what you want to read. It's a million books. And once again, you can get that with your library card.
Exactly. So if you have something that you're interested in, you can go to your librarian, and your librarian can help you pick out a book, because our job is to read these books and figure out what are the best books you choose. So you can think about different genres. You want to think about your audience. And also, here's another tip. You could also sometimes maybe pre-read the book before you read it to a kid, because then you can pick out certain pictures or certain words and stuff that you want to talk about. And then that way, when you go past it, you can say, what's happening in this picture? Or do you know what this word means? And then that way your kid's picking up vocabulary too. So that's another tip for you there with your read aloud.
I got a tip for parents too. If you do find a book that's a little bit wordy or really lengthy, get some paper clips and paperclip some pages together to simplify the page and the story. I do this all the time. So if you see a book, it's a really good book, but you're like, you know what? It's a little too long, and I just want to read a story. Paperclip a couple of pages together. Trust me, this is a little tips coming from storytellers. It's going to help out a lot. You want to keep the engagement as high as possible.
So, what spaces do you read in? What do you think about when you're thinking about your space to do a read aloud?
Ambiance is everything. Ambiance is everything. If you're reading to your child, be in a well-lit room. Get creative. It is no wrong way to do a read aloud. I mix it up sometimes. Sometimes I may get bored just reading a cappella. I may read it to a hip hop instrumental. Parents, go to YouTube. Utilize YouTube. Download some instrumentals. What kind of music you into? I do hip hop beats. I do R&B song instrumentals, and I read to that. You know, I mean, get creative as possible. You'd be surprised how you spark that creativity with your little ones. I just think it's all about how much energy you invest. You know, like, don't pick a book you don't want to read, because your kids is watching you. You're reading the book. If you're not engaged, if you're not pointing out details in the book, it defeats the whole purpose.
Yeah. Is one thing too, like sometimes libraries have puppets or stuffed animals. Get the stuffed animals and a puppet that goes with the book.
You see my boy Busy the Bee?
Yes, tell them about Busy the Bee.
So if you don't know, I have a storytelling channel on YouTube, 3 King Visions. This is my best friend Busy the Bee right here. What's going on, y'all? Shout out to Black Children's Book Week. Be animated, y'all. I tell you, like, I see parents being so animated with their children, just regularly interacting, but when it comes to reading, you get dormant. No, be free as possible. Be creative. Just be loose. You know, it's a family time. Story time is just not for the little ones. It's for the parents as well, because you want to create that bond and that love for reading. So, you know, this is just the ultimate way of spending time with your loved ones.
Yep. So how do you introduce your books when you start your story time?
So, you know, with me, I love, like, I'm not going to be like, your smile again, I promise. I'm going to introduce the story. You will smile again, I promise. Written by Demir Ajay. So, you know, you just have to be vibrant. Utilize your personality. You know, I always like to pick books to set the tone. When I'm doing a read aloud, I choose 2 or 3 books, maybe even a 4th one, because it is a little bit of a freestyle, impromptu element to it. You know, I want to get a feel for the crowd. I literally did a story time this Sunday where it's Black History Month, right? I'm reading a story to 2 families of white kids. You know, I'm getting a feel for them. They're not catching it. So I said, you know what? Let me switch to another book they'll get. It was a book about a mixed family. And guess what? They was very receptive to it. So, you know, being relatable and building that connection in reading, the engagement level is everything when you're doing a read aloud. Now, if you're doing it virtually, I would say choose the books that get straight to the point. We all on our phones, all it's going to take is a swipe to get off the app. So you want to keep them on the app or whatever platform you're using. So just try to be simple, but engaging as possible.
Yeah. So here's some things like I like to do too. Sometimes I like to, you know, like show the cover of the book and things like that. I like to tell them who the author is, because sometimes kids will end up liking authors and they'll be like, oh, it's my favorite author. I heard of this one in school. So sometimes I talk about that. Sometimes I talk about the illustrator. And sometimes, like, as I start the book, there are these things. These are called end papers. And let me tell y'all something. Sometimes these predict what's going to happen in the story.
Yes.
This book is about a boy like you. And this has pictures. Talk about this. What are some of the things you see here? Sometimes it's a great way to think about prediction and what's going to happen in the story. So sometimes you could use that for your story. How do you hold your books, Mr. Billy? When you do your story, like how do you show them how?
That's a great question. I hold my books under the book like this because it's more comfortable for me. So when I'm flipping the page, I can look at the book and still look at the crowd or look at the screen while I'm reading. You know, hand placement is everything. You know, if you're holding a book like this, I would not recommend holding a book like this. It's going to be difficult to turn the pages. Your finger's going to get caught in the pages. So I always hold mine under the book and then turn it slowly. And also, you know, if you're in the phone right now, I'm looking at the camera right now. I can see how the book is showing. And then after I read a page, I can show the illustration and point out what's going on in the book. Hand placement is everything. I know it sounds simple, but this makes everything when you're doing a story time. Yep.
Are you left or right? You got to figure out left-handed or right-handed, under, over. And remember to circulate that book around so that the kids see it, and the kids will let you know if they can't see it because they'll be crazy. Go ahead, tell them.
You know kids are the most honest human beings. So you know if you're doing a read aloud, right, which I think sometimes parents get intimidated by that. Don't be intimidated. They're actually going to help you, because if they're pointing that out, that means they are engaged. So you need to keep that energy going and that attention span going. So you, like I say, it's no wrong way of doing a read aloud. It's okay to make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time doing read alouds. But guess what? Kids don't know that.
And if they do, they know it's okay when they become readers. It's okay.
It's okay.
You do go back and you keep it moving. Get that word. Now let's talk about reading with expression. What are the different things you do to read with expression?
So once again, be free. You know, be confident. This is also a confidence boosting tool for adults as well. You talk about public speaking. This is the ultimate way of doing public speaking to develop your confidence. I can't tell y'all, I'm gonna be honest. I've gotten so much confidence these past 6 years as a librarian, as a storyteller, reading aloud to 50 to 100 kids. And it gives you that confidence that you can be the best person that you can be, and I can be animated and be comfortable with myself. You know, when I'm saying, whoa, you know, opening your eyes, just being yourself and having fun reading. I'm like a little kid when I'm reading the book. You know, I'm like, I am who I am, and I move to a beat as the rhythm of Africa stirs in my feet, while the joy of the continent runs in my veins, and the souls of my ancestors rise again. Whoa, like, just have fun. It's simple.
Yes, you can also like do hand motions, make sound effects like Mr. Billy did, like facial expressions, accents, all that kind of stuff to make reading more fun. So think about those things.
Do a nursery rhyme. I do a lot of nursery rhymes before I kick off my story time. You know, I may do an open shut them. I may do with my little hands. The kids love the Bumblebee song. You know, this is all about phonological awareness, you know, just having them identify with certain songs. Kids love repetitive things. So when you're doing nursery rhymes and then link in to your story, you got them wheeled in.
That goes to my segue too, which is like, how do you develop ways for them to respond? There are lots of books that have like a call and response. What are other things that you could do to get kids engaged and involved in the book?
First and foremost, so I give you a prime example, Tiffany. So when I'm in a story time, a live story time, and I see the parents in there, sometimes the parents will have their kids sit in front on the mat and they go to the back. I highly encourage parents to be involved as much as possible. So a little trick I do, as I'm reading a story, I will ask the crowd, what do they see? To create engagement. I put parents on the spot. Hey, Mom, what do you think about this page? And all the kids will turn around and look. You know, it's an attention grabber to keep people focused on the story. I'm always, also, I may even have some fun. It's always a freestyle element to story time. You can have your story time and read aloud playing so perfect, and you may have a crying baby. You may have kids that are wrestling, and I'm like, hold on. Y'all see that baby crying? Why is that baby crying? Let's make him happy. You know, I'm always reeling it back to the story. So it's all about awareness of your room, and then virtually. If you feel like you're not getting engagement, which I wouldn't really focus that online, just continue to do you. But in person, just continue to read the story, but assess the room. You know, if you feel like you're losing them a little bit and you almost near the end of the story, wrap it up and go to the next story. Go to a felt board activity. Story times are read aloud, not just with just books. You can do a flannel board to tell a story, or you can, have crowd participation telling a story. So it just, all these tools we're telling y'all, there's no wrong way to do it. Just experiment. And
take what works for you, and you incorporate. Like, we're just throwing out tips. Just take them and bring them in, and what works for you, and use it. Right? You can ask
old nursery tales.
Yep, you can do things too, like have the listener pretend to be the character, ask how the character feels. What did the character hear? What did the character smell? And that way you could, bring about other engagement like that as well. And so like Mr. Billy said, you kind of have to watch your audience and kind of engage from there with different responses. Are there any questions that you like to ask, like when you're doing read-alouds, maybe afterwards? What do you do after you finish the story?
Typically with me, virtually, I probably won't ask questions after the story ends, but if I'm doing a live story time or a live read aloud, I always ask them, do they like the book? You know what I'm saying? Which I'm always going to say yeah, because I'm going to be clapping, you know, being excited that the book has ended. Because a lot of times what kids do, once you end the story, they're like, what's next? So what I encourage the parents, if the book is in my collection in my library, I tell them you can check out this book. Or if you're a fan of this author, I have more books that are similar to that author's book for them to check out. You know, if you're doing theme-based story times, if you're doing theme-based on Black children's authors, have plenty of Black children's author books for them to check out. You know, you don't want to have one book and that kid enjoys it, but then 50 other kids can't check out that book. So, you know, this is always a conscious thing you need to always be aware of.
Yeah, and also too, while we're talking about like picking books, think about cultural representation, not just to affirm a kid's identity, but for those who are not a part of the culture to understand our, you know, the humanity as well. So get those books that are also the mirrors and the windows. Just sometimes when you do read aloud, especially to classes, sometimes you want to think about some questions that you can ask at the end, just so they can start understanding and comprehending the story differently. You can ask like, did you like the story? How would you have written the story?
Yeah.
How did why did they respond that way? You know, like what, you know, like, and different questions like that, because you want them to also get an idea of like comprehending the story.
Yes.
It's a part of the literacy process. So these are all great tips that you can use. And like you said, if the kid's not, and if a kid doesn't like the book, that's cool. Know that, and know that, okay, what do you like? And then fine tune it so you can get where that kid likes.
Right there.
Stay in that space, because that's what's important too. One of the things too I wanted to talk about, like there's tons of books and you'll see all these great books this week, but we also need our readers. Please read to kids. Find a school, find a kid. You could be in a church, your family, your community organization. Let's create mentor readers to read to these kids, because that's what we need to. We got the book, we need the readers.
That part right there. It takes 10 to 15 minutes. Sometimes my story time, if I'm just reading one book, that takes 7 to 8 minutes. You know, we all have 10 minutes to spare throughout your day to impact a little one. They need to see you engage with them. You know, this is the ultimate way for us to get involved. I see we have a plethora of Black children authors that are coming out. So I encourage people in this chat to read these books to these kids. You know, it don't make, you know, it's no point in having this book on the shelf if we don't have nobody reading it. You know, especially when we talk about representation. We need us reading these books. I mean, I hate to say it like this. It's okay if another demographic reads it, but seeing us read it, it hits home. You know, it paints the picture and inspires them to see characters that look like us. That is everything.
Yep. Did you want to give us an example of a read aloud a little bit, Mr. Billy? While we got
you know, I stay ready, so I ain't got to get ready, you know. So I'm going to do something a little different. We talked about creating engagement. We talked about being creative when it comes to doing a read aloud. So, you know, I'm a big hip hop fan, Tiffany. I know you are too. So I was thinking, you know, you got the Funk Flex, you got the serious 5 Fingers of Death, where they do a little freestyle to different beats. So I figured I could do that with a story time with a couple of books. So those are books I'm going to read. I'm going to read a page or two from each book, give you a sample of them. I Am Who I Am, written by SRTs, right here. One of my favorite books. I love this book. New Baby Coming, New Baby Here, written by Cheryl Smiley Oliphant. And also, You Will Smile Again, I Promise. So, look, all these books are going to have different themes, different emotions, and all different types of engagement. So, is everybody ready? Uh-oh.
You ready?
Uh-oh. Are y'all ready for story time? Yay!
Let's hear it, y'all. Come on.
Uh-oh. Here we go. So, our story of the day is I Am Who I Am, written by SRTs. My little ones, are you ready? Oh my gosh. Here we go. I am who I am, and I'm proud to be Black. I was born to be me. That's a matter of fact. You can travel the world, take a rocket to space, but nothing can compare to the smile on my face. Hey! Whoa! You see that rocket right there, my little one? Let's take a time travel and go out of space. Whoa! I'm going to switch it up, you know. Okay, you know, we're going to slow it down a little bit.
That was a great beat, by the way.
Shout out to Slum Village.
Yeah.
Our second story of the day is You Will Smile Again, I Promise. Written by Veronica Chapman. Whoa. I'm so excited. Here we go, y'all. My sweet child, I know that you are sad right now, and that's okay. It's okay to be sad, everybody. It's okay. You see, you lost your granny. Now you don't understand the world around you. You don't understand, young king. You don't understand. You know, let's keep it going, my little ones. Sometimes you can't believe that it's real. And it makes you feel sad. It makes you feel sad. Everyone say, hi, Grandma. Now we're going to switch up the mood, you know. So I'm going to give them the last story. You know, new baby coming, new baby here. Written by Shaw Smiley Oliphant. Shout out to Aaliyah. Here we go, y'all. New baby coming, new baby near. Been looking forward to this old year. Whoa! A new baby is coming. Oh my gosh. Everybody just calm down, my little ones. New baby coming. New baby near. Mommy and daddy rush with fear. Whoa. Where are they going, my little ones? Where are they going? Hold up, everybody. Hold up. New baby coming. New baby near. The baby came sooner. The baby's here. So it's all about having fun. I read 3 different types of books. You're going to get 3 different types of feels, but I enjoy reading these books. It's nothing like reading to the little ones. It's ultimate gratification. You talk about adults, or the adults on here, building that confidence, you know, the ability to develop your public speaking skills, creating an engagement, and inspiring and influencing the future. Read these stories. Support your Black children's authors. Please do.
Yes. Yes. Did anybody have any questions for us while we're here before we wrap things up?
Oh. Shout out to all my Black children's authors.
All right, I don't see anything.
I seen a comment one person made that they dress up as characters. Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. Create, look, you can involve your little one, have them dress up as a character in the story.
Yes.
It is endless opportunities when you're talking about doing read aloud. So that's why, you know, I love what I do. You know, I think the best thing about this, Tiffany, is that during the pandemic, you have seen so many creative Black children's authors come to the limelight that have so many amazing stories. You know, our community, we got so many stories to tell. Not one story is the same. I mean, you have platforms like mine, yours, Lit for Black Kids. We have all these, you know, Black baby books right here. You know, these are the ultimate platforms to give back to the community. And for you to create these books, please read them. Give back.
Somebody asked, how do you coordinate your beats to your lyrics? How you do that?
That's a great question. So in my phone, I'm a hip hop head, you know, I'm an 80s baby, so, you know, I love 90s R&B. So I have a whole list. If it's songs I love, classic songs on my Apple Music, I YouTube the instrumentals. And like for an example, for the New Baby, New Coming, what I'll do is flip through the page, skim through the book. I can tell in 3 seconds skimming through a book if it's a good story time book. You know, depending on the age range. If I'm reading to 2 to 5-year-olds, I want to keep it as simple as possible. So like when I select this beat, I'll read a page or 2, you know. I'll be like, new baby coming, new baby here. The baby came sooner. The baby's here. You got to put yourself in the seat of a kid. You know, with a kid like this, that's how you look at it. So with the book selection and music selection, you have to be creative. And look, it's so many songs out there. You saw that I read You Will Smile Again, I Promise, to Jagged Edge. You know, gotta be. A classic song. It was slow. I wanted to paint the feel of emotion through the book. Look, just, you know, just be creative. And there's no wrong way of doing it. Because a lot of times, Tiffany, I've read books to different instrumentals. I'm like, you know what? I think I'll read it better with this song. I mean, a lot of these books I've read, I Am Who I Am, these rhyming books, I've read this to a plethora of instrumentals. You know, you could do R&B, you could do hip hop. I even did a country song one time. So, you know, it's all about creating engagement and just anticipating how the kids will enjoy it.
Yes, I've also used, they have ADH sounds for kids, and I've used those too because they actually help you focus a little bit as you're reading the story in the background. So think about that too. Well, tell them where you're at, Mr. Billy, so they can find you for story times in the future and things like that. Tell them where they can find you.
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank Black Baby Books, Tiffany Fontenot. We are here lit. If y'all don't know, Tiffany has been a huge supporter of my platform. I mean, she's done so many things for me. I just want to say thank you. It means a lot for all the support. You can find me at 3 King Visions on Instagram, but more importantly, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I've been going hard in the paint with the YouTube videos. I've dropped 30 YouTube story times last month. 30 YouTube videos in 28 days. I got another story time video dropping in less than 30 minutes. I support all Black children's authors, period.
Yeah.
So I love to support my own people. I'm trying to create a unique storytime experience that we haven't seen. And I think it's important for the little ones to see Black men reading. Like, it's so important to see Black men reading and being confident in themselves.
Yes, bring those Black men in. And I'm at We Are Here Lit, and we focus around centering Black male voices and literacy for Black boys. If you want to affirm their identity, get information on reading and literacy and how to do that, please subscribe to my Instagram and hear the stories on the YouTube channel of how men came into literacy and Black boys, and learn the patterns so we could change the patterns and create a community of readers, because that's what we need. I especially want to thank Veronica Chapman. Yeah. She is the queen, she's the boss, she is everything to put this week together. And this is just the beginning, y'all. This is just the beginning of big things. So I want to shout her out big time for doing this. Thank you so much. It was awesome. Quick
tidbit. If you're a Black children's author and you want to be featured on my platform, just DM me. I am highly accessible. You can ask all the children's authors that have sent me books. You know, I try to work quick as possible as far as, you know, showcasing your book. Once I follow you, you got a lifetime supporter of your books. I'm going to be going live later on at 6:30 Pacific time. I'm going to be going live with Written by Stone. So I'm going to be reading Caleb Has Something to Say. So you'll get another Read Aloud live. I just love what I do. So I just want to thank all the Black children's authors because y'all have given me the ultimate support.
Yes, and to get your Black books in libraries, find a Black librarian, talk to the librarians and tell them you want that book in a library because it's needed for representation. BCALA is a great place to find Black librarians to get your books in the libraries. Do so. We need the representation. So thank you so much, y'all.
Leaders of the new cool.
All right, y'all. Take it easy. Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.